Welcome to MaxsGarajMahal. Glad to have you back. Who of y'all remembers in one of my videos where I was working on my old S10 pickup and I needed a 1/2-inch impact wrench, which this is the only one I have. And I don't have any sponsors on cordless tools, so hey guys, if you want to send me some tools, I'll abuse them and review them for you. Okay, so who remembers me pointing out that it didn't work on these old NiCad batteries, which NiCad batteries, by the way, if you've never been inside one and you're always throwing away your batteries, they have these are called subsea batteries. And subsea batteries don't last very long, they don't hold much charge, they don't have much power, and you know, your milliamp rating out of these things are really low. And in an 18 volt, let's see, it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 of these to make 18 volts. So with 18 volts, you might take 2 or 3 lug nuts loose with this machine if you're lucky. And this is really what they look like when you take them out of there. So you want to take those out, throw those away if your battery's no good. And if you have one of these old tools that hadn't been used much and you need to get it operating, then what do you do when you have a bunch of your computer batteries? I just take my computer battery when it's running bad and I just take them apart. And this is the worst one I've made so far. I mean, I didn't take any time with it, I just needed the tool working. So what I did is I took all the parts from the batteries and I just cut the little plates apart and then configured the direction of the batteries. You always have to go positive, negative, and then jump across from the negative to a positive. So you're just making a series of your batteries to increase your voltage, because each one of these things, when they're fully charged, is 4.2 volts. And when they're discharged, is 3.7. Now the bad thing about doing it the way I'm doing this right here is you don't have a board, a safety board, to keep it from discharging so far. So if you're running that, you'll have to do the AED, automatic electronic discharge, to shock it back to life, which these were low enough I had to do that. And I will show you these real quickly. Your positive goes to one end. So this positive goes down to here and it jumps across over to, this is the negative, then it goes to the positive. And if you'll look here, let's see if I can get you lined up on, if I hadn't taped these all together you could see that a lot better. But anyway, it's positive, negative, to positive, up here to the negative, then it goes over here, and you can see it here. Let's see if I can get it turned where you can see it. To the positive, there you go. And then comes down from this positive to this negative, across to another positive, up here, from the negative to the positive. So that makes this last one here, that makes this the negative. So you're going to run that to your negative on your battery post here. And of course you're going to run the positive here over to your positive post. And it needs to have, in order for this to charge, it has a temperature regulator here. And you just run that over to the negative side and solder it on. And then that also solders to the center on this particular battery. So I've got one here. I'll tell you what, let's just test this thing and see if it works. I won't have to go to the trouble putting it all back together to show you this. Alright, so there's that one. And here's another one. Had 2 batteries for this machine. So I already done it. This thing don't weigh nothing. I mean, 5 little 18650 cells don't weigh much. So you'll have your machine back up and running. Now what I'm going to do, and I'll show you this real quickly. This is the case that this one goes into, as you can see here. See the shape? I can get it up here where you can see it. If you see the shape, you'll see that this belongs to this particular case. And it goes in here, sets down, and this 5 screws go back in it. Alright, so I'm going to take, this is what I used to do, and I'm going to go back to doing it because this is a 50C battery right here. And as you can see, it just barely will fit in here. But barely is all you need. And a 50C discharge would make this thing a hoss, because with the sub-C batteries, their C discharge rating is something like 1 milliamp or something, 1 amp, something like that. Not very high. And these things here, these being computer batteries, aren't very high. They're probably about 1 amp also, maybe 1.25 amp, 1.5 amp. And these are Samsung batteries here. And these were in the, they were in an HP computer that had the extra battery. So this had 9 batteries to make a 12 volt. So, but they're pretty good discharge for a computer. So I'm going to show you one that I've started from scratch. Now, bear in mind, this one is going to have all kinds of fancy features in it. It's got a, now I use a little charger that's for the RC world, remote control world, and it's for balancing these cells, because these cells can discharge. One could be discharging faster than another. So I like to always recharge these things and balance these cells out, so as it starts charging, if you've got one that's already pretty close to 4.2, it'll start, instead of putting charge in that cell, it'll put charge into one that may have 3.7, 3.9, something like that. It'll start bringing that cell up. So I've installed, is that not going, I don't know if I can see if that is, see what's going on here, guys. Maybe because this is white. Just don't seem to be wanting to. Maybe that's better. Tell you what, let me turn some of these lights off and see if that'll help you see that better. It doesn't seem to be that great. Or maybe I can change the color. Did that make it better? Is that better? Is that better? Well, I just went to the eye doctor, and he dilated my eyes, and I've never had my eyes cause me problems from 12:20 p.m. till 11:30, but my God, I never had anything like that. You don't want that, by the way. So let's see. I still don't like the looks of that. Is that better right there? Tell you what, let me get one hold in my hand. See if that makes it any better. So anyway, well, that's a lot better. So that's what that looks like. So the way that will work is, once this is soldered into the case, like this one is here, I'm sorry, and this one is here, then your battery leads will be connected. These will just be plugged right in, right here, to this, right there. Okay. And then we're going to put, since we're getting all fancy and everything, we're going to put, since we don't have a board to keep us from discharging that battery too far, we're going to put this little sucker right here in, and you'll set this up, and you'll set it to where it's 3.7 volts. When the battery discharges 3.7 volts, this thing is going to create an ear-piercing, really high, loud buzz, you will stop what you're doing because you'll hear it over a hot rod, over a fuel, top fuel racing car. So anyway, that's going in there. And it'll also be able to be seen because there'll be a little window for that to show on the side, right over here, and it'll show up. So then, we also have a little switch, which is also not necessary, but then you can flip this thing off and on. And that'll disconnect to make sure that if there's any kind of residual mess going on with your battery, because if your battery blows up and looks like this, these are the things you see on the internet that burns houses and cars and those little ride-on things, stuff like that. So I did this yesterday myself. This was my fault. That's one of those things where you're testing and abusing. Boy, did I abuse this one right here. Let me tell you. So anyway, you don't want to do that. So instead of having this taped on like this, and then two wires having to make a turn and all that taped together like you saw before, now it does this. So hopefully, if you have that problem, like these little Drill Master drills, I bought this while I was on the road. I need to do something at a motel while I was working for Homeland Security, and I need to work something to have it ready for presentation the next morning at 06:30, because we actually had some of the big wigs from DC. One of them lives in one of the big white houses over there, so had to get this thing ready to go. So I bought this thing, and it worked all the way through. And I bought like 3 batteries just to make sure I could get through it. And I got it done that night about midnight. At 6:30, after an hour and a half drive, I got there, and I didn't use this again for a couple of years. And by that time, guess what? All 3 of those nickel metal hydride batteries, or I think those might have been NiCad batteries, nickel cadmium, they didn't work. And that's what this is. That is this battery right here. So what I'll do, and whoop, I don't have it put together, so everything's going to fall apart. So what I'll do is I'll put all that stuff together and put it in this sucker and have that thing running. And also, there's a little test thing here. This will test each cell individually, and it'll tell you where your charge is located. So if you ever want to do this, it's very simple. As I said, you have to have a positive, and for every positive you have to have a negative. So if you've got an 18.5 volt battery, you need 5 4.2 cells to make an 18 volt battery. If you need now I happened to build one with 26 volts yesterday, and it's already gone home with a guy. Man, that thing will sing. My charger don't like charging it. It didn't mind charging it, but it's only supposed to charge at 22.2. Charged it up real well. And the chargers aren't expensive, and if you buy a little adapter, man, you can charge all kinds of RC stuff. If you'll hang on just a second, I'll go grab that one of them. I'll just show you what it looks like, and I'll start this thing right back up. We are back. So I've got a whole conglomeration of mess here down here. So let me tilt down. Now, this system that I'm using, this particular charger, I really like it. I've had it for 2006, I think, 5 or 6, something like that. And I've got all kinds of adapters on it. I've made all kinds of battery adapters. I connect to Tamiya, to Maxs's, to Maxs's, all kinds of RC batteries. And this particular one, the way I've got it set up here is I use a watt meter, and this tells me how many amps to the 100 thousandths that I put in the system. So you just, and this old chart, or this power supply, guys, is, let me see if I can get you a little closer. Alright, this power supply is, I think I bought this thing in 1970, 71, something like that. And all it does is puts out 12 volts. well, 13.8 volts, I think. Yeah, 13.8 volts with a 20 amp output. So it'll charge a pretty good sized battery. So I just, y'all have actually seen this in some videos where I've tested some batteries and reviewed them. Okay, so I'm going to choose watts. Now that watts will give you, it'll tell you how much watts it's got, how many amps it's going in, what voltage is going in. Right here it's 13.91 volts, and yet it's not going anywhere, is it? So it would be going into this particular charger, and you choose the battery type, which I've got on LiPo right now because these batteries are LiPo. They're actually lithium ion right over here, and I'm using this little adapter here to charge. Let's see, this one's already put together, so I'm going to put this on here. Now this is not for this particular battery. It does not fit it, as you can see. But you can put it on there like that, and as you can see, the green light tells me that it's working. Okay, so I need to find on this adapter I was talking about. Let me pull it out, get it out there where you can see it. I've got that adapter going through a well, look, let me do this a little differently. I'll bring this to you. I was talking about you can put all kinds of adapters. Okay, this is the charger. A lot of times I'll charge 6 batteries at a time, 6 light batteries. So you'll plug the heavy wires into, and I've got, here's an adapter that I've made to use some alligator clips, battery clips, to charge my lawnmower batteries. So anyway, what you do is you plug in your heavy battery cables from your battery, and then your balancer leads go right in here. Let me grab one, I'll show you what that looks like again. So, pull this back out of here, and the way you would do that is you would take your battery. This is a, well, I don't need to name that. People don't really care what that is. So you pull this off. I'm going to plug this in here. And this happens to be a 4-cell. So it would go right into here like this. Like that. And that's how you'd charge it. Is you're going to run your heavy battery leads here, your discharge battery leads, and these are your balancing leads. You plug it in here. You can plug in up to 6 batteries, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if your charger and your power supply is big enough, then you won't have any problems charging it at all. So I'll tell you what, we can test this one real quickly, and I'll show you how that works. And here is another series of adapter leads. This is for everyone's got something that this type of lead plugs into. Find it there. Maybe I need to come back here. There you go. It's too close to it. I got it zeroed in too tight on. So this is for a positive center. This is for a negative center. This is for like your little tiny batteries and various things. Let's see, this is for like servos and larger servos. Let's see, this one here is for charging a 3-cell direct. And all I got to do then is plug it in here and here, and it's ready to go. So let me plug this thing in. We'll fire this up, and I'll show you how this thing works. I mean, you can plug in all kinds of adapters this thing, and it just works wonderfully. And as a matter of fact, you can also take this out to your vehicle and plug in, just hook this up to your battery on your vehicle and use it directly off of your vehicle. So we're going to plug this in, this watt meter, into this battery charger. There we go. I don't know why that tape got put on there and who did that. I won't loan that out again, so it's going to come back like that. Okay, so we know that that is a 14.4 volt battery. So let's see if we can see this. So it is a battery type is LiPo. You can go through and you can choose LiPo, nickel metal hydride, nickel cadmium. This is for lead acid batteries. You can charge, discharge, you can set it up for storage, you can do all kinds of things. And let's get back to the LiPo. There you go. And we are going to charge it at 1/10 of an amp. 1/10 of an amp. That's not very much. It's going to take a long time. We know it's not 18.5 volts, so let's try charging it at 18.5 and see if it'll take it. Now it's going to test. Connection break. And the reason why it's connection break, this recognizes that it has one too few cells, so it won't go ahead and work. So let's go ahead and go through it again. It's on LiPo, 1/10 of an amp. Let's go down to 14.8 volt. Let's test it there. Well, what have I got going on here? Ah, let's plug in the power to the thing. Bet she'll work then. Ha! There we go. Now let's test it again. It confirms it is a 14.8 volt battery. It is charging at 1/10 an amp. Now, I talked about your balancing. So let's touch this right here. And if you notice, number one cell is 3.94 volts. Number 2 is 3.89. Number 3 is 3.95. Number 4 is already up to 4.01. So number 4 is taking the charge faster. So it has started distributing this. You got 3 now at 3.95 and 1 at 3.89. So if you just keep watching this, you'll probably become mesmerized, and maybe not. But we can also watch this charge, how much charge it's putting in right here, by watching this. I just broke a connection. Maybe. Yeah, I guess I did. Oh, I hit a button. Never mind. Sorry about that. But anyway, you can watch this gauge over here. And it's at 13.91 volts going in at 2.7 watts. And it's already put in 14 thousandths amp hours into that battery. So that gives you an idea of how well this thing works. It works really, really great. And we can also charge this thing right here. And I'll demonstrate that real quickly because y'all need to go and so do I. I know you got things to do. This was just to give you an idea of the things you can do at home and how to do them. So what we're going to do, we're going to disconnect this right here and disconnect our balance lead. And here in a moment I'll put the cover back on that because I don't want to get a discharge and a short out. We don't want any shorts around here. Unless I'm wearing them. You know how that goes. I got to wear them shorts sometimes. So now we're going to take this thing, we're going to watch this and make sure it's got a good, you see it's got a green light on it there. Alright, 1/10 amp. And 14.8 we know is going to be too low. And it says it is a 5 cell. And there it goes. Now we don't have a balance cable on it. So you'll see that you show zeros for all 6 cells, although there's not 6. You can go up to 6 cells with this little charger. So that just shows you real quickly just exactly what you can do at home with these things and how to go about it. And you ought to give it a try sometime because you know you might be able to revive something. That's got a full charge, as you can see. I've already charged it. So, and it'll tell you it's fully charged. It'll make a noise that you don't like to listen to. So hopefully How you like that cameraman there, guys? He's up close for you. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. You got something out of it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. That helps us get more views. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and share these things. We'd like for a lot of people to see them. And give me a call if you want to. Send us an email if you have some ideas that you'd like to see. Put them in the comments below or email them to me at MaxsGarajMahal@gmail.com. And once again, we appreciate it. And as we always say, by the way, just so you know, you don't want to short out a lithium ion or lithium polymer or any type of lithium, but any kind of battery, because then you end up with something like this. It's fried. Tried to burn down MaxsGarajMahal. That ain't no good, so don't do that, all right? One way to short them out is like that. You notice I usually keep these things taped. And this one was, however, I had it hooked to something that managed to get a screw pop up on it as I was moving some things. So please be careful, guys. These things are no joke. They will explode. Y'all be careful out there. Stay safe. And Merry Christmas.